What is up and welcome back, y'all. So tonight we got a video from Instagram of a woman who is in her car recording a video, and she's gone out to eat, and she notices that a lot of the black women that are sitting at the bar and eating are single. Meanwhile, all the couples that she sees are interracial with the black men and Caucasian females. So first thing I want to do is I want to play this video, and then I want to have a conversation about it. Let's go.
So, just have a question. It's for women and men. Doesn't matter. So, I just finished having dinner. I took myself to Applebee's. Just something simple. I dropped my son off at work, and I don't have to pick him up till like midnight. So, I was just like, I'll just get something to eat and go home. And so, I'm sitting there. I sat at the bar, and I had my little earbuds on, watching my movie while I'm eating. And so when I was done, I got the bill, and I'm just looking around my surroundings. I look to the left, I see a black man with a white woman. I look to the right, I see a black man with a white woman. What do I see? What do I notice all at the bar? Single black women. So it got me to thinking. And don't get me wrong, I don't have an issue with interracial dating. I don't. That's not what this is about. I believe wherever you find love, that's where you find love. If it's no matter what nationality, ethnicity, race, whatever. If that's where you find love, then that's where you find love. But I'm just wondering, have black men like totally given up on black women?
All right. And that's pretty much the video there. A lot to unpack with these statements that she made. A lot to unpack with the statements that she made. First, I want to read some comments because last time I did that, I thought it was very helpful to just give you some examples of how social media is actually inputting this information. So one comment goes, "I'm done. Divorced twice by y'all. I'm good." Second comment is, "We want y'all, but y'all don't want us." Third comment is, "We ain't. Remember?" Fourth comment is, "Stop talking so much and your men will come back. Every situation doesn't need a response, and drop the attitude. Men are not looking for strong women. They just want a woman." Okay. I'm just going to read 4 comments and that's it, because I want to give y'all an idea of what happens when things get on social media and people give their 2 cents. All right. So first thing I want to address is the question, have black men given up on black women? The answer is an overwhelming no, because the data shows that 83% of black men actually marry black women. So until this data shows that 51% of black men marry outside their race, the answer to this question will always be no. And I think the answer to the question will always be no because the fact of the matter is most people marry and date within their own race. Now, depending on the subsection or the city or county or district she's in the United States, she may see an influx of people interracially dating. If there's, not a lot of black people in that area versus a majority of white people in that area, yes, it's a higher chance that that person is going to end up with someone of another race or end up with a Caucasian person or what have you. But this is not some telltale sign that black men are just leaving black women in droves and blah, 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 and things like that. Of course, you got a couple people on the internet that are going to beg to differ and say that, yes, black men are totally leaving black women and, they want nothing to do with them. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Each and every individual person has their own anecdotal experience about dating certain people, either within their race or outside their race, and they're going to act on that own anecdotal experience, guys. That's how life goes. Now, whether or not those experiences are shared, that's going to be a whole different story. That's going to be a whole different story. Now, another thing I want to touch on is I will say that blacks in general are going to be some of the most fetishized people when it comes to dating. I'm going to say blacks and Asians. Blacks being the most common people in this country in comparison to Asians. Of course, you're going to see them more dating interracially because they are fetishized, especially black women. I will just say this. If you do see an interracial couple, don't take it as some type of jab towards your own race. Don't think that that person is some type of Uncle Tom or they hate their mom or stuff like that. People like people, okay? It doesn't matter what race they are. Some guys, yeah, they are gonna go for other races rather than black women, and that's because of their own anecdotal experience with black women. Now, does that make them a self-hater? No. Does that make them prejudiced? No. They just have a preference. Same way as some women aren't going to go for certain guys. I know a lot of women don't like Indian guys, right? A lot of women don't like Indian guys. Even some Indian women don't date Indian guys. I know Hispanic women that don't date Hispanic guys. And the same for white women. I know a lot of white women who don't date white guys. So this is not some form of self-hate, as a lot of people like to put it. And I like the way she kind of said, you know, she doesn't have a problem with interracial dating. I don't have a problem with interracial dating. Hell, if it wasn't for interracial dating, my mother and father would have never met. I wouldn't be here. Okay, so by default, I'm not going to have a problem with that. But I do want to touch on another point as well. Oftentimes in the black community, we have this toxic attraction. And when I say a toxic attraction, I mean that we get attracted to people for the wrong things. And mostly, I'm going to say a lot of women in our community do go for a certain type. I mean, you hear it as well as I do, and all the tabloids and all the podcasts, the Pookies and the Ray Rays. This type has to not be as sought after in order for the dating within the black community to improve. You see, what happens to a black man when he gets successful, when he starts speaking perfect English, when he starts dressing in suits and doing all this and doing all that, a lot of times he will actually get shunned by his woman. I kid you not. Those guys that always say, oh, black chicks didn't want me, that's because they were nerds. That's because they were smart. They were attentive to certain things. They were looked at as less than. They were looked at as weaker because they come off as more intelligent. Unfortunately, that's the truth. I'm not going to lie. And you can't get mad if that person chooses to take their own anecdotal experience and go elsewhere with it. Now, I know racial bias is at an all-time high right now in 2025. And of course, that's because so many people are baited by social media, and so many people are baited by these fake stories and this and that and this and that. And guys, let me tell you something. It's really not that deep. A lot of y'all are going to be dead and gone by the time any type of racial bias is overturned in this world. Think about how many people came before us and thought that racism was going to be dead by the time they got old. It will never die, y'all. That's just the way it is. But I can guarantee you one thing, it's not as deep as you think it is. And y'all think about this stuff way too much. People are people, regardless of the race, creed, color, gender, whatever. People are people. If you fall for somebody and they happen to be from a different race, don't let society demonize this. Don't let society tell you, hey, you're not supposed to be with that person at all, because it's not true. You're supposed to be with whoever you want to be with. Okay. And like I said, black men aren't giving up on black women. The data disproves that over and over and over. This is another stereotype that's being portrayed in society right now. And I'm going to be honest, it's a race bait. This is race baiting at its finest, because it's not true. It's not true. Now, like I said before, oftentimes in our community, we do have a toxic attraction, especially when it comes from the women being attracted to the men. Whereas has these guys that don't actually deserve these women get a lot of women. These guys that have no job, these guys that walk around the hood all day, slanging and banging goals in their mouth. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, the worst of the worst. They make the entire race look bad. And these are the guys who get put up on a pedestal by the women in the community, rather than those guys that are going to school, getting their degrees, in a good career, staying at home, staying out of trouble, building things, creating things. These guys are often ignored. And I know some of the women will say the same thing about the women out here. Like the IG models, the IG baddies are the ones that get all the attention and blah, blah, blah. Whereas has the smart, women who live in solitude and study and read and do all this stuff, they're often ignored. But that's because they can't see them. Often, you just can't see them. They're not reachable. But I guarantee you, if those women were reachable, if they actually put themselves out, these guys would fall going after these women. I promise you. But as far as the guys, a lot of these guys actually do put themselves out. These guys are on dating apps. You know, these guys go out to different establishments trying to reach women and do things like that and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when in competition, when a smart guy is in competition with a hood guy for the same girl, oftentimes in our community, the hood guy is going to win. I guarantee you the hood guy is going to win. For one, he makes the woman's life more exciting because he adds a level of unpredictability to a woman's life. And one thing women like is excitement. That's one of the scary things that a lot of our women have to face, is the fact that if you get with a good guy, the excitement is going to be to a minimum. Or better yet, you're going to have to find other things exciting rather than, you know, riding around the trap or doing this or, you know, going out to certain clubs that you're not supposed to be at and things like that. Being around certain people is not going to be acceptable anymore for you. Another thing is, when you do decide to date a guy that has excelled in the ranks and he is intellectual, smart, educated, blah, 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 he is going to hold you accountable. He's going to hold you accountable for certain things. He's going to say, hey, babe, you can't just sit around and smoke weed all day. You got to get up and do something. Or, hey, babe, you can't just lay around and watch Love and Hip Hop all day. You got to get up and do something. You know, go do this or go do that. He's going to give you some type of direction. And I'm not going to lie. A lot of our women have a problem with direction, submission. These types of things are things that men want. They want to be able to give direction. They want to be able to have submission. And if he's smart and worth his weight in salt, he's not going to tolerate certain behaviors, especially from his woman. That's just something he's not going to tolerate. So if this man does choose to go out of his race and date interracially, you can't be mad at him. You can't fault him. No more than we can fault women of our race that go out and date men of different races because they've had problems with us. That's their own anecdotal experience. And if they want to take that experience and move on from it, it is perfectly within their rights. But you can take things into perspective and say, hey, I bet if there is a shared experience among these men, then there must be something going on that is true. If a bunch of people get together and say the same thing, that they've witnessed the same thing, is there not any validity to it? That's all I'm saying. I want to know what y'all think about this. Do y'all think the black man is actually leaving and giving up on the black woman? Or do y'all think this is some type of race baiting that is just rampant in our society that needs to be stopped? I want to know what you think. And as always, if you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.